Hey everybody, Max here. I wanted to do a quick video as an introduction to just some of the stuff that I'm going to be putting out into this booth, into this particular Discord channel, into how you can build rapid applications for hackathons. But I wanted to kind of start less from the software engineering perspective. We'll segue into that and talk more about the social engineering side of how to win hackathons and how to kind of go about organizing yourself as a team. The first thing that we need to look at is is that it's really important that before you go and try to build something, you know what you're going to build, and that thing um, CU build more than any hackathon that I've ever been part of is extremely rubric sensitive. That is, that every year there is a theme to what you should be building, and there is a very clear rubric of how judging will occur. So I love that the spirit of credit unions is that we're all in this together. I love that we're building, things that the community, not just, when I say community, towns and cities, but literally from credit union to credit union can come together and to build these solutions to really help the member. But if our common goal or common theme, for example, is member retention, you know, it's probably a really smart thing to do, not go tackle some type of loan origination solution. Now, it totally could do well in terms of judging, but we just really need to make sure that as you're planning what to do, that is really centric to the rubric and the theme that we're actually doing at this particular hackathon. So that's the really first thing that I want you to focus on when you're thinking about what to build. Okay. The second thing that's going to be wrapped up or really important as you conclude the weekend is a demonstrable proof of concept. And yes, the word is demonstrable. I learned today that it's not demonstratable. That's not a word, apparently. Neither is demoable, but demonstrable proof of concept. Um, I have, and I want to talk about. I even want to go back to the rubric centric idea. I've seen teams win that have had an extremely on point message idea and then message with less of a proof of concept than teams that have come with like extremely strong software offerings, but that were totally off base. So these definitely are in order of importance. But having a proof of concept is extremely important. This is part of this video series is to help you get to that proof of concept very, very quickly. But something that I think that is really important to me, and I think that will only help mature CU Build as a hackathon to create more and more professional grade proof of concepts that really can be picked up off the shelf and ran by the community forward into actual solutions that unions can adopt is getting them production ready as possible. That could be, making sure that they're installable, that they're using technology that credit unions are actually going to support and know how to support. For example, like if you want to build your product, say in Rust, or Python or something that runs on a Linux server, sure, it might be a great proof of concept, but is it something really that a credit union with limited resources is going to know how to install? That they're going to know how to support, which is why personally, again, I choose the Microsoft.NET stack. Not saying it's the only stack; it's a stack, but it's definitely one that is more supportable within these environments. But also, there's other softer things such as documentation and ensuring correct security, not just from a technical perspective, but we really have to holistically look at some things that can really bolster and mature our entries into the hackathon, but not just looking at it myopically from the weekend submission, but also what will help it actually be adopted into the credit union space. which is like security attestation, like proving to, say, a SOC auditor, a SOC 2 auditor, that this solution is secure, or to a penetration tester. And so we have to also provide at least the foundation of some of that documentation and evidence and artifacting that we did take into secure software development when we're building this out. So those are kind of like the three pillars, but also in order, the things that I really want you to be thinking about as you're starting to plan things. But there's a pro tip here, and the pro tip is that in order to do this, we can divide and conquer. So your team, I don't know how many teams there are. I don't know how many developers per team there are, or I'll say participants, because that's an important word. But I'll assume it's somewhere between 5 and 8 per team. But you will have some people who are full stack developers. You'll have some people that are only Power On developers. You'll have some people that aren't even developers of either in that group. And you're going to have to figure out, without exhausting one or two people, how to actually organize and build an application in a very rapid way. But like I said, I think sometimes within hackathons, people get so focused in on the technology. Once the idea is created, there's no more tasks to be done except for a single developer burning the midnight oil trying to get done. And that's not the case. There's so many other activities that I'll continue to walk through as we dissect the technology stack. And I'll try to call out activities that both Power On developers and non-developers can be doing, as well as really giving the .NET developer, in this case, some options. But even if you're not a .NET developer, let's say you're a Java developer, maybe some of these tips and tricks can kind of loosen up the gears of like different things you can do within your team within that such a limited amount of time to optimize building out things as far and as fast as possible. Okay. So, with that said, let's get to the rapid application development part of it, which is, and this is just going to be the overview of the coming videos to come in the rest of the series, where we dissect these four things in greater depth. There is the web application. I mean, it could be a desktop application for all intents and purposes. It could even be like an augmentation of, Quest as a desktop application. But most times, most solutions have a web application portion to it. Most applications also have a scheduling of jobs, whether they're cleanup jobs, goodnight jobs, but things that are occurring outside of the core. Even if your proof of concept doesn't yet have these type of jobs, it might be wise, and most likely it will have these jobs. It's very important to architect them in a professional way. And again, if we just choose the right open source libraries or choose the correct patterns, we can have both the best worlds of creating a proof of concept fast, but also have it be as production ready as quickly as possible. The third is database. That is all the different options we can have that provide rapid application development, but which of those options can also continue to put us on the path of being production ready, such that it can be installable, it can be supported, and then obviously in some cases even scalable for like production data. And then the fourth is integrations. This is both going to be integrations with SimExchange, but also all the third-party vendors that are there. I do know that if we were to go circle all the way back to being rubric-centric, there in the past has been line items of bonus points for integrating with as many of the vendors as possible. And or there are mini games or mini prizes provided by particular vendors for particular reasons. So that is definitely something that we'll be exploring as well, that both developers and non-developers can be active in. So just to conclude, I just want to reiterate what the vision is. The vision is it's all about trying our best to allocate the correct amount of time towards the most important tasks so that you can plan how to get them all together as a team. the more you divide and conquer, the more you're going to get closer to your end goal of having a proof of concept, but hopefully something that is far beyond the time that you should be able to do within 48 hours into the path of maturity of being production ready for other credit unions that may or may not be present at CU Build. All right, see you in the other videos.